So hello and welcome to this special with Säkerhetspodcasten and SecT. We are interviewing some of the speakers on the conference, and now we're having Dani Goland back for the second time today, and Mohsan Farid.
Mohsan Farid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Very welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, really nice having you here. Yeah, it was a cool talk. It was a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
It was some exploitation and some post-exploitation, and then some hardening and takeaways on how you should manage your resources in the cloud.
And how you shouldn't manage, mostly how you shouldn't manage your resources in the cloud. And I think most of we actually got to this talk because he's an internal pen tester.
Yep.
I'm not. I've never worked with AD. I did web pen testing. I did app pen testing. Cloud because as a CTO, I worked on our infrastructure, DevOps, DevSecOps.
Yeah.
And I enjoy having my nights and trying to break our own cloud. So that's how I found a bunch of vulnerabilities, our right tools to mitigate that. And then we spoke about it, and we're like, companies are moving these days to the cloud.
Yeah, for sure.
But then the move is not. It was actually a question from DEF CON. We were speaking at DEF CON Cloud Village, and someone asked me why is there a connection between them? And then you think about it, a company cannot go cloud native in a day. Right?
No.
Take a big company.
It is a progression.
So while that progression, they'll have some kind of tunnel between.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
We were talking about let's go through that tunnel. Let's try to
see what we can do.
The cloud is, I feel it's less mature in terms of protection than internal systems. I mean, you've had
both yes and no. If you really want to protect your stuff in AVS, you can, but it's a lot of work, so people tend not to maybe implement all of it.
True, but in terms of products as well, think about how many products you have for on-premise.
Well, yeah, that's true. For an internal Active Directory topology, there is a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of mitigations in place as well. But the funny part with Windows application, or the Microsoft realm of managing assets in an enterprise, right? It's pretty hard because they need to be backwards compatibility.
You choose Achilles heels.
You sort of showed a lot of broadcasting protocols that are easily exploited, and I think that the twist where you're talking about having a VPC or a site-to-site VPN to your cloud-native environment, that sort of is a really good vector because it's really value. It could happen.
And also, the thing I noticed about cloud, right? You get new services and new API calls every day.
Yeah.
And
new services.
They test it, but we don't have enough people, security people, going at all these new services, because every day I wake up, I go to the AWS console, something new thing pops up. I see a version 2.3.2 of a new API call for something with another field, What happens if we fuzz that field? Does anyone test it?
Nope.
It takes
Probably
time.
not.
It takes time, exactly. So I feel that getting to the cloud, and we showed you 3 ways of doing that, and the easiest way, I did a deserialization attack, which has been available for years. But once I got into the cloud, and then he started attacking the ADFS proxy, and we tunneled into the internal, I mean, that is something that I don't think anyone's prepared for.
No.
I don't think anyone's prepared for someone coming from their cloud into the internal.
It's sort of a thing now, isn't it? In the before times, we talked about an inside and an outside of the corporate network, and then we sort of evolved deploying zone concepts, right? We have different zones like DMZs and whatnot, and then we invented the cloud, and then we sort of reinvented the inside-outside again, but with the same problematic image with corporate and networks that needs to be interconnected in a way. So we sort of created a more complex environment, one could say, right? And I think your talk is sort of summing that up pretty neatly. We have internal stuff, but it's more or less reachable from public clouds.
So
it's really
a false impression of security with the cloud, where people think that their assets in the cloud are completely isolated from their internal. Which we just demonstrated, no, it's not.
No.
And they also think when they run an EC2 instance that it's protected. But once there's a patch out, there's a vulnerability, it's your responsibility to patch it if you don't use a managed service.
In the shared model, you're responsible for EC2 instances.
I was emphasizing AWS lets you do patching in one click, patching everything. But I was emphasizing how I think patching is the wrong way to do this. Because we're running in VMs. Getting a new image on a VM is fast. It's not like restarting 100 computers, right? VMs are fast. If you're using like Docker, it's even faster. You get like 30 minutes startup time. So just get a new base image, put a patch in there, and then replace everything, so you know that everything is running on your.
But it depends on what service you're running. If you are like this hip young company, or like not young, like you developed DevOps pipeline, so you have everything. You have scriptable infrastructure, you have a build service, like you have Circle CI, you have something that deploys code. Then I think it will make sense. But you have a lot of big enterprises there running like fat and thick client Java.
Running bespoke.
They can run
bespoke. And then there's
let's say they're running a monolith, right?
Yeah.
But then they're running on a machine. That machine has an Amazon machine image that it's running on, right?
Yeah, sure.
So.
But then it will be harder to define a Docker image and harder to.
I'm not talking about Docker. I'm talking about operating system. You get the Linux, you harden it with one of those. There's a bunch of Ansible scripts.
Oh yeah, you mean and have it as your private AMI or something?
Yeah, what I'm saying is you bake your own AMIs.
Yeah.
Every time there's a vulnerability, you don't patch an existing machine. You bake a new AMI that is patched,
that makes
and
sense.
you swap it.
Yeah.
Right. We can have your monolith, double monolith.
Because
at
that's
some time you just swap them.
Yeah.
And that will be. That way you know that patches might fail, right? And then you have to manage that.
Yeah.
But once you bake an AMI and it works, and you just swap it on all your machines, it's a super easy process.
It makes sense. It makes sense. But a lot like kernel hardening, if you run Linux, it's like really important. Like really removing all the bad file permissions that might exist. So that makes sense. And have your base image, do it up once, and then roll everything on that.
You have tools for that. So HashiCorp, they have Packer. Which gives you a stager. It takes you take like the base Ubuntu image by AWS. It runs it on machine, and then you give it a bunch of stages that you want to do. So I put Ansible scripts to harden the kernel. Right. You have
and sysctl, and maybe you do your Chrome works, and you do file system permissions and all your daemons.
You can
and
do
everything.
custom scripts. You can do Ansible. You can do Chef.
But HashiCorp is actually they're doing good stuff. Like
doing
Vault
good
is
stuff.
a really good product in conjunction with KMS or Parameter Store or something. Then
you unseal with KMS. That's the way you should do. But then again, also you have things in HashiCorp that I don't like. That they give you the easiness. So if you're on console and you want to do service discovery, they can give you the EC2 service discovery. That means you have to give describe tags and describe instances to each instance. If you give that an attacker gets on one of your instances, describe instances lets you read all the user data.
Which can
contain a lot of stuff. So this is like the easiness they give you. But it comes with a great risk that they don't specify in the documentation.
But it's the same with versioning and indexing. If you're storing your Terraform state files in an unsecure manner, you will have more or less console output. You will have everything that terraforming script did.
True.
Yeah, so that's an important thing to really take care of
as
well. You don't want
those
that
little things.
Yeah.
But the problem for me is they give you the easiness to do it. Because to do it without doing the auto discover with EC2 is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's harder.
But
it's doable, but it's harder.
It's doable. But when you have that EC2, when someone compromises a machine and he can read all the user data from all your machines, he will find something.
Most definitely.
So I think the easiness comes with a big risk, and you shouldn't always read the production hardening guides because they're always at the end at some point.
But you need a maturity level to do that, as well as your components, like fixing SMB, in like relay attacks. We patched a lot of stuff, but as you said, some of the patches were incomplete, right? But we still, in my opinion, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but there's still a lot of companies out there running SMB 1.0 and.
I was going to say it's enough to have one old server in an AD environment, and you're basically throwing around NTLM hashes.
All I need is one.
Right.
The guy from Preempt, what did he say? The version 1 of what was it? He says stop it if you're running that.
Of net NTLM.
True.
And people are still running.
If you run Mimikatz, you almost always find a digest password, even now.
So I mean, the thing is the whole. Like in our talk, I showed how I was able to get 60 shells in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was crazy.
but the reality of the situation is I just need one.
You know what
in
it's
an Active Directory environment, I just need one shell, and the rest is all gonna. It's a domino effect.
It's gonna fall.
Absolutely. And I mean that's the trade-off that you have with Active Directory, right? You have that convenience, But in the event that it's compromised, then it's all going to eventually go
It's
down.
game over.
And it's sort of like you don't even have to have like really nice credentials anyway, because it is it's based out of reading attributes.
Yeah.
So every user needs to be able to read the Active Directory database, right? So
Right.
you know where to look. So if you
Right.
compromise one machine, you have all the access to actually know where to look next.
Absolutely.
And that's really the neat part.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a fun
Well,
field.
the neat part for the red team,
yeah. Oh yeah, sorry.
And also there's the problem that, you know, like he showed you all the stuff on internals, and there's a bunch of companies doing internal pen tests.
Yeah,
web
sure,
pen tests.
sure.
I have not seen that many companies doing like AWS pen tests.
Right.
No.
There's Rhino Labs.
Rhino do it. Our
Rhino-
company where I work, I do a lot of them
Yeah.
every week almost.
But compare that to like internal
Yeah,
web
Not even close.
applications.
Not even close.
And because of that, even the amount of research we have on vulnerabilities, right, is low. Because if you have like 3 companies, or like let's say I'm gonna go like 50 companies in the world versus like thousands doing that.
Yeah.
And like preempt, they're probably doing internal, right? I mean, most of the research is about AD, or they have a product. But you don't have that in the cloud, so the amount of research, the amount of like manpower and hours that go into it.
But we're getting a lot of like AVS more or less implemented security features, like Aqua Security does a lot of AMIs that you can install directly into the cloud.
Also the Docker scanning.
Yeah,
They have,
you have Falco and Sysdig. They are maybe not the best, but they're still there. Falco and Sysdig.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like well, it's not like a. It's sort of it's anomaly detection, more or less. We can talk a little bit more about that off camera.
Yeah.
But they just been accepted into the CNF, Cloud Native Foundation, and they are good. They will be good eventually, but not really matured
I
yet.
have a little bit of problem with the Cloud Native Foundation.
Yeah.
It's not a big problem. I'm just saying the acceptance rate, right? You go look at the landscape. For every like cubicle there, you have like 50 solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you have that, there's 50 solutions with 50 different places to look for new vulnerabilities because people are running that, right? Once you kind of like get closer and like, that's why I like console, or like, so you have console, Istio, and like Lingder, right? They're like the most people are running them. Yeah. So you can test these and you'll find like the vulnerabilities and fix them. But once you have like 100 like microservice proxies, it's very hard to like look for things in every one of them.
The world of Kubernetes and orchestrations are at their door, and it's getting adopted in a rate that we can't even comprehend. So, well,
I think
we will not be out of a job soon. I don't know.
Yeah. Like the more there is, the more I'm gonna look for things, right? ID console, my next thing will be Istio. I'll look for how to break that, and like, you know, every day new thing comes out, and I'm a developer, so I know that I make vulnerabilities in my code. Yeah. So, and people found vulnerabilities in my code, and it's fine. It's like no one's perfect.
I think, you know, people are more concerned about preventing that initial point of compromise, but there's really nothing you can do about that. It's inevitable. I think what's very important and highly like underestimated as far as the amount of value that it offers is having telemetry. Like, you know, like for my particular attack that I demonstrated, yes, I used an undetectable payload. You were not able to see the traffic. You weren't able to see anything going across the wire. But why were there 60 systems reverse connecting to me simultaneously?
So that's the thing. Like, you need to have some kind of an anomaly detection there. It's no reason.
Key,
you need to
there is no reason like this server is trying
like
to
a
log in
heuristic.
every user in the Active Directory under 5 minutes.
Right.
So that's like, you should go there.
And, you know, I come from a data science background, right? Like machine learning, deep learning. I think you don't even need that. You need like a threshold. Like you should.
Yeah, so you sort of rate limit everything.
60 is like a crazy amount of machines connecting outside.
It's
like,
one system.
It's not
that's
even
a rule.
You
don't need any like crazy anomaly deep learning thing. It's like a rule that a person can write.
I was gonna.
But that's a Windows box, no? So it chats like an old lady. So there is a lot of broadcasting happening, right?
Exactly.
So if you have looked at a PCAP at a Microsoft topology or a network, there is a lot of everything. It's everything.
A lot of chatter.
Yeah, a lot
So
of noise.
yeah, that's sort of
Yeah, but I think that's a good takeaway, because there are some fairly simple metrics that you could.
But it's
look
nothing
at.
new.
No,
Like,
it's
it's
nothing
like
new. I mean, we were doing this.
Adopt
at
defense
Volvo.
in depth.
Yeah, at Volvo. In
Privileged, at least
in the
privileged
90s.
policies.
Yeah,
Right.
So
yeah.
and so I know the things that you're running. Don't be crazy stupid. Don't be an early adopter of something that you don't know.
Yeah.
Always, if you like pull things,
Check it.
yeah,
Validate
like
the image.
GPG, right?
Yeah.
Get the key, put it.
Or if you're using
compare it.
Launch Hub, if you're taking down PHP framework from some guy in Russia, maybe not be the valid source.
Right.
Check out the
Yeah.
source. Where are you pulling stuff?
No, you
from?
also have like all those supply chain attacks, right?
Yeah,
when
for
you,
sure.
Especially
Sure.
when you have like Circle CI, which pulls things
Yeah.
from a Git. Like, get the hash and compare it before you run
Yeah.
it, because if someone gets their key and pushes
Yeah.
something to their branch,
Yeah.
you're screwed.
Oh,
yeah,
but it's-
you had an NPM attack that almost took
like
down
that's
with
exactly
the cryptocurrency.
exactly the same thing that I would say. Like it's with NPM. It's like
On Event Stream,
Yeah.
which is like it was the most popular library,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
most popular libraries in NPM, and the developer is like abandoned it, is like
fuck this.
yeah. And some dude is like, I want it, and he put something that targeted like a specific coin exchange
Yeah.
Yeah.
to like poison, to inject like a code into the mobile app, you know?
Docker Hub had the same thing. They removed thousands of really they were compromised containers that people used.
Yeah.
Right, because they didn't do their homework.
The industry needs to mature.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest issues with the industry right now, with I've seen from my personal experience, is that organizations post pen test, they're gonna say they always ask me, what products can I buy to prevent this? And I'm like, don't worry about your products. Put that money in training your people.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
product
that's a
is
good way,
only
yeah.
as good as the people who deploy it, the
Yeah.
people who configure it. Like, don't worry about getting the latest product.
Nope.
Don't worry about it.
And it's a cultural thing as well. Like we need to implement non-blame policy that
Yeah.
everyone is like, it doesn't matter where you find the bugs. We will help it out each other to fix it.
You need to train every person, even
Yeah.
like the secretary.
Yeah.
You know,
Everyone,
like,
everyone.
Look at our talk from before though, about the APT, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Spear phishing.
Yeah.
They got and they used the MC bypass. You can see in their script how they bypassed MC
Yeah.
with like splitting the PowerShell
string.
command.
Right.
Classic way to do it right now.
Right.
And it was spear phishing, and spear phishing will always stay. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean.
But
Someone will get foothold somehow.
Yeah.
You have to expect that.
Yeah.
but
It's
you
just a
need to
matter
know
of
how
time.
to detect it right and how not to constrict them from moving laterally.
And and when sure.
Yeah,
Go.
I think that's a really good note to end this conversation,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think we can sit here and talk for
Yeah,
hours.
for sure.
But the listeners might
gonna
not
need
be
another round of
interested.
beers.
Yeah. So Dani and Mo, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, really nice
And,
having you here.
Hopefully we'll see you next year as
hopefully
well.
see you
Absolutely.
guys back. Yeah.
This has been a complete pleasure and an honor, and thank you for having us.
Thank you guys.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
All right.
All right.